Hello, this is John Locke, and today I want to talk about content pruning. Does it help you with your SEO? Is it effective? What is content pruning? Now, if you have read up on SEO, if it's something that you're studying right now, this is a term that you've probably come across. And generally what it means is you're taking your either your lowest performing content or content that's thin, content that's not getting a lot of traffic, and you're basically removing those pages or combining them into other existing pages, and basically like getting rid of those pages off of your site. So when I do content pruning, first off, actually, before we get into that, let me just say, does it give an SEO benefit? So what most people will tell you is that it gives you a benefit. Maybe you've seen articles where people say that their traffic increased by 33% after doing a content prune. I think it really depends on how many pages you have on your site, how thin your content is, and what you do with those articles. I know that every time that I've done this, and I've done this a few times on my own site, I haven't really had a chance to do it for client sites because, truthfully, there hasn't been that much content to prune. But every time that I've done it on my site, it seems to give a little bit of a boost. And I think maybe that's because Googlebot has a crawl budget, and this is something that a lot of people don't know. Googlebot doesn't crawl every single page on your site every time that it goes through, unless you have a very small site. If you've got, a few hundred pages on your site, then Googlebot is not going to crawl that each and every time that it goes through, like every couple of weeks, because it's got other things to do and other sites to go to. So generally what it does is it has so much time that it's going to spend on your site. So that's why they say if you make things easy to crawl, if you clean up all the redirects, if you make things a lot more fast, it's not just for your visitors, it's also for Googlebot to actually crawl and index your pages. So any changes that you make to your page get put into the Google index, because they have to be crawled by the Googlebot and then pulled down and put into the Google index. It doesn't happen instantaneously. So does it? Okay, yeah. So it does give a little bit of a benefit. I would say, maybe it increases like your overall traffic a little bit. I don't expect, that it's gonna give you like a 50% boost or anything like that. But it is a good idea to get rid of some of the thinner content or less relevant content on your site from time to time. Just kind of update it. And I think this ties into another thing that you might do, which is updating pages on your site from time to time, and just the pages that in the past have given you a lot of traffic or in the past have done well in ranking, just update them every so often. Make sure that the information on there is up to date. So here's how I determine which pages I'm going to prune off my site. And I can tell you with my own website, generally what I do is I'll open Google Analytics, and then I will set the time frame. I think the time frame by default is a week, right? So I'll set the time frame to something longer, like 6 months, and I'll look at all the pages on the site. And what I'm going to do is filter it in reverse. So the pages that have the least amount of views, I want to look at first. So anything that's underneath like five views for 6 months, that's a good candidate to be pruned, because obviously nobody's going to it anyway, so it's not going to hurt your traffic. Nobody's actually going to that page anyway. So these I usually put into one of a couple buckets. Either I'm going to delete it, or I'm going to improve it, that page, or generally this means combine it with another page that's existing. Maybe you have two pages that are talking about the same thing, but it would be better served if you combined them into the page that's already doing better than this one at the bottom. Or I'm going to get rid of it in 301 redirect it to a new page. And generally, that's what you want to do with a lot of the underperforming content. One thing, because I'm vain and I don't want to get rid of like some of my writing from a few years ago, what I've done is I have a personal site, johnjlock.com, and anything that I've taken off the Lockdown Design / lockdownseo.com site that I've pruned, I've put over there, and I redirected it over there. So if there's any pages that Google would crawl, it just goes over to that other one. But that way, anything that's lower performing or not a lot of people are interested in it right now, it just goes over to that other site. You may do something different, but generally you're either going to delete it or you're going to improve it or combine it. So here are ones that even if they have a low number of views over that 6-month period, that I'm not going to get rid of. If they have incoming links, and especially if they're what we call followed links, which pass page rank from the linking site to your website, those don't delete. Because if you delete these, you're going to get rid of some of the SEO benefit of that. When other sites link to a piece of your content or a page on your website, that's passing page rank into that page on your website. That's going to improve your overall SEO for your website. So in those cases, I'm going to leave those be. And I'm not going to do anything with them. Maybe improve the page, but I'm definitely not going to delete them. Now, if it's a page that no incoming links are going to that page, and nobody's visiting it, and it's not really fitting my needs anymore, then I can go ahead and get rid of it. And like I said, like what I do is I put it over on my other website, just so it's not disappeared, but you might get rid of it. So content that would be thin or generally underperforms, ones that you would want to prune or improve would be things that are events that happened in the past. Maybe it's an events page from 5 or 6 years ago and you don't need it anymore, like coupons, or maybe it's just got like a picture or a couple pictures. That might be better suited combined into a photo gallery page or something like that. But anything like that that's kind of expired information or information that's no longer relevant, you can pretty much safely get rid of those and forward that 301 redirect it to something like an events page or a photo gallery page or just a general information page on your site, whatever's appropriate. Now, if you have thin content where a lot of people got into this craze, about 5 or 6 years ago, where the SEO best practice was to blog frequently. So people were everyday blogging, but they were, just busting out like 300 words a post because that's what people were telling them to do. But a lot of those basically are getting no traffic today because they really didn't go deep into subject matter. If you have a bunch of those pages that are, the same subject, but they can be combined into one good page, that might be a better use of that. Or if they can be combined into an existing page, that might be good. But otherwise, just cut them out. Nobody's visiting them anyway, so it's really not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt your traffic. The only exception to that rule, like I said, is if it has incoming links. And in that case, we're going to want to keep that, but we're going to try and, maybe internally link from that page that's getting the links to other pages on our site so we can pass some of that page rank. So that's my basic primer to pruning, content pruning, what it is, what it does. Gives you a little bit of a benefit. Other thing that I forgot to mention too, when you're looking at the different pages that are visited in Google Analytics, make sure that you're counting all the ones that have like parameters. Sometimes, like, I know that Facebook does this now. If you click on a link from a Facebook, if you're sharing a page on Facebook and then you click over to that page, adds all this like weird like parameter at the end where it's a whole bunch of characters. So be sure to analyze that and make sure that you're not pruning something which is actually getting visits, but it's got all these weird parameters attached. So that's basically it. Content pruning, a little bit of benefit, good to do from time to time, good to clean up your site. Just make sure there's not a bunch of thin content and that everything on your site is actually very useful, Google might look at your site as a little bit higher quality. But from a practical standpoint, these are generally pages, they're not being visited anyway. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. We help manufacturing and industrial firms get more requests for quotes through organic search. And we're publishing here every week, so we'd love to see you subscribe. Until next time, peace.